Governor Elliott, can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Missouri Southern Board of Governors meeting on this almost Veterans Day. So we'll go ahead and get started and call the meeting to order. Just a reminder for all the Board of Governors, when you need to speak, you got to press the little microphone in front of you with the green light to come on so that we can hear you. And we also have Governor Elliott conference called in. He was not able to attend in person, but he's joining us via phone. Okay, first on our agenda is announcements, and I want to welcome our newest member of the MSSU Board of Governors, Mike Seibert. Welcome. This is his first meeting today. He was appointed by Governor Parson on September the 14th, and he will complete the term from Governor Ron Richard. So, Governor Seibert, it's great to have you here. He is a senior cardiovascular representative with Bristol Myers Squibb Pharmaceutical Company, and he served on the Joplin Parks and Recreation Board. He's served 3 terms on the Joplin City Council and was elected by Joplin City Council to serve as mayor of Joplin for 2 terms. He is also a graduate of Missouri Southern, woohoo, go Lions, earning his bachelor degree in marketing and management, and has been a member of the advisory board of the MSSU Plaster School of Business. So welcome, Governor Seibert, if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you. It's truly an honor to fill this role. I think our hearts still are broken for why I'm here, but I've in a lot of ways I've followed Senator Richard. I can never fill those shoes, but my hope is that I can follow in those footsteps. We have a lot in common. The senator and I were both born on the 4th of July, and we grew up here in Joplin together. We both are Southern graduates. Both have a passion for this university and for the city. Both obviously served on city council and both were mayors. And as Ronnie would always remind me, that he and I both married up. And so we do share a lot of commonality, and it's my honor to follow in his footsteps, and I'm just thrilled to be here.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're thrilled to have you. Also, another announcement today. We want to recognize that today is the day that we celebrate Veterans Day, officially tomorrow. But I'm proud of Missouri Southern's commitment to the Veterans Day. And most of you probably don't know this, but Dr. Van Galen told me we have nearly 150 of our students identified as veterans, and several faculty and staff who also have served the country as well. So this campus is a very veteran-friendly campus, and we're very proud of that. The university's Veteran Services Office has a mission to create a welcoming environment dedicated to supporting the needs of all of the military service members, the veterans, and even their dependents, as a lot of veterans transfer into higher education to pursue career goals after the military. It's been a great week on campus, I understand. I've seen several media posts from Flag Day on Monday to celebrating with the veterans at a luncheon yesterday, and then lots of events in between. So we as a board, we're very thankful for everyone who has served in the military, and those that honor those Missouri Southern veterans, their families, the faculty, and the staff. So at this time, if there's anyone in the audience today or here or present, that they would please be stand and recognized if they've served. Thank you all for your service. Okay, on our agenda, we have the minutes from the September 8th board meeting, and I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes in your packet. Governor Gibson has the motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second? Governor Morgan. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Thank you. Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is naming of a university facility. So the Board of Governors has received a request from President Van Galen on behalf of the Campus Naming Committee to name a very prominent facility on our campus. So I'll call upon Dr. Van Galen to provide the board with the background on this request and introduce an individual who's here in attendance who will speak on behalf of the request.
Thank you, Governor Plotnick. I'm delighted to provide the board with some background on this request. On September 16th, I received a letter from Dan L. Stanley of Joplin, Missouri, that requested the consideration be given to the naming of the university's North End Zone facility in honor and memory of former Board of Governors member Senator Ron Richard. The letter from Mr. Stanley spoke of Ron Richard's outstanding service, his leadership, his legacy. Rather than have me speak about Mr. Stanley's eloquent letter, I've invited Dan Stanley to address the board today. Mr. Stanley, thank you for being here today. The floor is yours.
Honored to be here. Should I do it from here, or where would you like me to do it?
Right up front here? That'd be great. Yeah, I didn't get you a podium, but how about right there? That'd be great.
Yeah.
Honored to be here. Everybody that knows me well knows it's much better for me to work from a script than with no control whatsoever. So I'm going to control myself out of respect to your very important time. I laid out my blazer this morning, my green blazer, to wear with my gold tie. And Melanie walked by my closet and said, honey, you remember that you're going to Veterans Day at St. Mary's with your 11-year-old granddaughter this morning, don't you? So I had to put the green blazer aside and put on the veteran attire to go to St. Mary's at 8:30 this morning. I come to you with a letter that is in the hearts and minds of many of my best friends. And Ron and I were in an investment club together of 20 men that's been in existence since 1976. And dear, dear friends in that group. And so I bring this in the spirit of many, many citizens and many, many friends of Patty and Ron Richard. And I'm honored to bring it to you. The purpose of this letter is to respectfully request that consideration be given to naming some type of an athletic facility, which could be the North End Zone. I leave that to the Board of Governors to make that selection. But for the sake of presenting the letter, I just identified that particular location, some area within the Plaster Sports complex, in honor and in memory of former Governor Ron Richard. With Ron serving on the Board of Governors with great distinction since November 6th of 2019 and passing away while still serving on the board on June 9th of 2023, Ron Richard is a very deserving of this special recognition and high honor. The resolution of appreciation, honor, and respect for Governor Ron Richard, which you all passed unanimously at the regular meeting on September 8th of 2023, eloquently, thoroughly, and clearly describes why Ron would not only be eligible for this special recognition, but would also be most deserving to receive it. In his many roles as a dynamic civic leader, a city and state leader with a public servant philosophy, a successful entrepreneur and businessman, a loving son, husband, father, and grandfather, loyal friend to many, and an always devoted and always a devoted and proud alumnus of Missouri Southern State University. Very few alums better represent the best of the Lion Pride. On a very personal note, I had the tough assignment of notifying the 20 members of the Frantic Investors about Ron's passing. This is what I said in the email to them on June the 9th. As a very successful entrepreneur and businessman, Ron was the personification of a true public servant, offering himself up for service and leadership to his city, his state, and many other worthy organizations and causes. As a grassroots leader, his ability to reason out very challenging situations, develop a plan of action, and then, and most importantly, to have the skill and ability to convince others to embrace his recommendations was beyond anything the city and the state had ever seen before, and it will probably be a long time coming before we see it again. His biggest trademark was his abundance of Midwest common sense, another severe shortage that we have in this country today. The Plaster Sports Complex, the North End Zone, why do we mention this? Why do we talk about those particular areas? First, Ron was a fierce competitor and competed every day to see the best ideas embraced and adopted in business, in government, and in every organization in which he served and led. To look out on the football field and the track facilities and the baseball field and the softball field and watch the intense competition, personal sacrifice, and total dedication of every athlete and every team is something that Ron would relish. It is the perfect setting to associate with Ron Richard. Second, Ron was a dedicated citizen and community leader and was very involved in many groups, causes, and organizations. The university hosts many of their own events in the North End Zone, and it graciously allows other community groups and organizations to use it as well. Ron Richard was a true American patriot, and in fact, he was born on July 4th, like mine. One of Joplin's favorite events is the 4th of July celebration at the university, where thousands come and enjoy food, fellowship, fireworks, and patriotic music. The evening renews our spirits and love of our beloved country, a wonderful event to celebrate and honor Ron Richard in that particular location. Thank you for the consideration of naming a college facility, athletic space, the North End Zone, in honor and memory of Ron Richard. Thank you for allowing me to present this.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
At this time, I would entertain a motion to consider the request.
Governor Plotnick, in honor of the dedicated and extraordinary service of Senator Ron Richard to the university, the region, and the state of Missouri, it is my honor to make a motion to name what is now referred to as the North End Zone facility, the Ron Richards Athletic Center.
We have a motion from Governor Rosenberg. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Governor Siebert. Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you all for attending. Thank you for the recommendation, and we appreciate it. Okay, next on the agenda is our annual audit presentation. So I'll turn this over to Linda Ice.
Well, good afternoon. And it is that time of year where we will be presenting the annual audit. We have an external firm that does that for us every year, and we have representatives from the Forbes team here. We have Ryan Civil, and we have Allison Gardner.
Good. Well, thank you. Earlier this morning, we covered in detail the results of the university's annual financial statement audit for the year ended June 30th, 2023. Therefore, I will provide a summary of those results here today. The university, for its annual audit, received an unmodified or clean or highest level of opinion you could receive over its financial statements for this past year. That is the result of a lot of hard work of the Missouri Southern team. Led by CFO Linda Ice, but also Michelle Arwood and another number of other individuals on the team. Not only did we issue a clean opinion on those audited financial statements, we did so without proposing any adjustments, either proposed or passed, to those financial statements, meaning that your team has prepared financial statements that are materially correct in all respects without correction from us as the external. In addition to our annual financial statement audit, we also do an audit of controls and compliance with federal requirements as required by the Office of the OMB of the federal government. The university had two major federal programs that were required to be audited this year due to expenditures in the past year. One of those, which was your Student Financial Assistance Program, and the other was known as the HERF program. The COVID money shared with higher education. The university also received an unmodified opinion with no internal control deficiencies related to both of those programs as well. And so Becca Diskin, our Director of Student Financial Aid, is here, and a number of folks on the student side of the house also deserve kudos. There are a lot of very nuanced rules when it comes to student financial aid, and your team has handled those expertly in the past year. So with that, in summary, our firm, through many months of work with university personnel and in the ongoing collaboration throughout the year, presents for the board an unmodified opinion on the fiscal 23 financial statements with no material weaknesses and no significant deficiencies in internal control. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Hearing none, thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, Governor Haley?
Not a question. I just want to thank Ryan and Alice and her team for work you've done for the university in this audit again. And I appreciate all the staff from financial services and student financial aid for helping put this together. I know it's not a easy task, especially when you have new standards that go into place. So we appreciate all your work and efforts that showed off in the results of the audit.
Thank you. Okay, we will start with board reports. And Dr. Van Galen.
Thank you, Governor Plotnick. Certainly a special day at the university as we honor Ron Richard. So thank you for the board's full support of that. Very much appreciated. Since the last regular meeting of the board, which was on September 8th, a great deal has happened here at Missouri Southern, and much of it has been very good. So here are a few highlights. We had data from our last fall census, our count of students, if you will. That was finalized shortly after the September meeting of the board. By now, I know you have heard the positive news that we've experienced growth for the second consecutive year in the total number of freshmen, transfer, and graduate students new to campus. Missouri Southern is increasingly a first-choice university for the 4 states region and beyond. Also, the retention rate of first-time full-time freshmen, those who entered in fall 22 and were enrolled in fall 2023, was the highest in the last 17 years of Missouri Southern. As a campus community, we celebrate this progress, knowing that these numbers mean that more students are benefiting from the great opportunity here with increasing success. And as always, this is a testament to the work of our faculty, staff, and certainly our students. In mid-September, following the September board meeting, the Missouri Coordinating Board for Higher Education voted unanimously to support the university's proposal to update and expand its statewide mission. Thank you. As you know, that statewide mission proposal is to add to international or global education 2 elements, health and life science, and immersive learning experiences. Next week, we will meet with our local legislative delegation and will ask them for their support in the final step of the process, namely action by the Missouri General Assembly. Related to next year's state budget, we will ask our delegation also to support the coordinating board's recommendation of a 5% core increase for public higher education for fiscal year 2025. If approved, that would mean a $1.5 million increase for the Missouri Southern budget. On page 3 of the Board of Governors report, I've highlighted the $2.3 million grant from the Missouri Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development to collaboratively build a statewide Science to Jobs program for K through 12 students. There are many really exciting aspects of this grant, and we are partners with the Missouri Biotechnology Association, or MoBio, as part of these efforts. Among the most visible grant-supported activities on our campus that you will see in the coming year include some summer camps for junior and senior high school students and teachers focused on the biosciences, including health science and agriculture, and also the arrival of 3 anatomage tables, which are essentially a technologically advanced 3D digital cadaver. These will enhance the learning of visiting K through 12 students and teachers, our MOSO CAP students, as well as our students and faculty in anatomy coursework and research. And for those who are maybe hesitant to visit the cadaver lab, this might be a great alternative. So, we did have a great Veterans Day celebration this week, and I want to thank the many people involved in that as we celebrated the tremendous service that veterans have provided to our nation. One event I want to highlight occurred last night in the newly renovated Taylor Performing Arts Center. We hosted the 135th Army Band. It was a wonderful evening, a great music, a nice community turnout, and just so many great things came together. And I know Governor Rosenberg was there last night as well. So thank you for the board's support as always. Governor Plotnick, back to you. As always, I'll answer any questions you might have.
Any questions, comments for Dr. Van Galen?
Over here, please.
Governor
So,
Gibson.
Dr. Van Galen, I want to go on record, I'd be one of those that doesn't want to go into the cadaver lab, but that's not what I was going to ask about. So we saw the sorry. We saw the end result today in naming the facility in honor of Ron, Senator Richard. But would you refresh our memories about, or at least my memory, about what processes it takes to get from, like a letter of recommendation that Mr. Stanley provided to you and the chair of the board?
Yes, I'd be happy to do that. Mr. Stanley submitted a letter to myself, and then the next step in that process is to convene the University Naming Committee, which is chaired by the Executive Vice President, and it is the President's Cabinet. We looked at that proposal, we looked at our policies on naming facilities, and unanimously supported the naming of that facility on an honorific basis in honor of Ron Richard, given his tremendous service. And so, following that, we brought that recommendation to the board today.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Dr. Van Galen? Thank you for your report. Next, Executive Vice President, Dr. Hodson.
Thank you very much. You have a copy of my report in your packet, and it covers the topics of Lion Village and the Health Science Innovation Center and the fundraising campaign, which we went into quite a bit of detail in the Budget and Audit Committee. So rather than repeating that, I'd be happy to answer any questions on those 3 topics.
Any questions for Dr. Hodson on his report?
No question. I'll just, again, congratulate him on working on Lion Village. Hopefully to try and get it back up and running by the next spring semester, and the efforts to get the students that were displaced in appropriate housing.
Thank you. I'll pass that along.
Well, if we're passing out compliments, I also compliment you on your progress on the capital campaign. And it sounds like, from what I read in the papers, it's getting real close to a real tipping point to really move us forward. So,
Thank you. Any other comments, questions for Dr. Hudson? Thank you for your report. Next, Provost and VP of Academic Affairs, Dr. Toms.
Good afternoon. Just a couple of things that have happened on campus that were in the report, and then a couple of things that have happened since we made the report. On October 19th through the 21st, the second annual Artful Medicine Symposium Conference occurred on our campus. This symposium bridges medicine and the humanities with oral and poster presentations and expressive works of art. Art workshops were also held. Researchers from all over the country, including Harvard University, Ohio State University, West Virginia University, the Alice L. Walton School of Medicine, and Kansas City University. One of the keynote speakers, Dr. Angela Pierce, she is the Assistant Dean of Whole Health Integration for the new Alice Walton School of Medicine in Bentonville, is a Spanish and biochemistry graduate of Missouri Southern. So it was nice to have one of our successful grads come back and be a keynote speaker. That symposium is gaining worldwide recognition as a method of teaching physicians and future physicians the art of observing to become better physicians. And the artists are engaged in it and presenting art as a form of bodily expression. So it's very interesting, and I hope next year some of you can attend and just look at some of the artwork. So this is something that has happened, or I've been notified of it since the update went out. So Missouri Southern has had a partnership with the University of Rada Kralova in the Czech Republic for a number of years. If you remember, we in UHK jointly offered 3 courses last fall, and a group of their students came in October for about 10 days and faculty, and a group of our students and faculty went there in December. Well, UHK has secured a grant from the International Credibility Erasmus Plus project that will fund continued exchanges over the next 2.5 years. The grant will pay for 5 MSSU faculty to travel to the Czech Republic for 10 days each, providing €1,500 for travel and a stipend of €140 per day. It will also provide the same amount for 3 UHK faculty to travel to MSSU. And on the student side, 5 students from each school will be given €1,500 for travel and a stipend of €800 per month to study at the receiving institutions for a semester. So this is a great opportunity to continue to strengthen that partnership. And I'd like to recognize Dr. Chad Stebbins for working with UHK to help write that grant. And I think you'll really see some results of both students and faculty that will have more resources than the university can offer to pay for them to go to do this. So it's very exciting. We actually have a student at UHK this semester, so it will not be the first time that we've had students to go there. On October 19th through 21st, the Performing Arts Department performed Guys and Dolls in Taylor Performing Arts Center. This was the first theatrical performance in TPAC since 2018. Shortly thereafter, of course, we had to close it down. I was able to attend one of the shows, and I'm telling you, we have great talent at Missouri Southern. I was very impressed. Our new 24-25 Foundation Scholarship application is now available for students to begin applying using the Blackbaud Award Management System. It's a great enhancement to our scholarship selection process and will strengthen our donor-to-student relationships once we get everything fully implemented. And I would like to thank the foundation for helping us to fund that. That's a great partnership between financial aid and our foundation. And it makes it easier for students to apply, and it makes it easier for those making decisions about the scholarships to make those decisions. So we feel like we'll see more applicants and better applicants. Also, in case you had not heard, the Federal Student Financial Aid Application, the FAFSA, is being redesigned, not by us, by the federal government, and it would normally have already opened, but it is not open, and it is now projected to be open in either December or January. And just a heads up, that means it's going to be a really tight turnaround for all of our financial aid personnel to get all those applications processed. But we'll do it. They always do. I just wanted to let you know in case you have students in there that FAFSA is not open. And finally, just yesterday, and I'm not going to say too much because I feel like they're going to really want to talk about it at the next board meeting. Plaster School of Business had their Gateway Business Competition yesterday, and over 600 students and faculty from 30 high schools attended, participated in competitions, both written tests, oral competitions, presentations. It was very well organized. We got a lot of really positive feedback from the students. I have never seen 600 better dressed high school students because they're required to wear business attire, and sometimes that can be up for interpretation, but mostly they looked really sharp, and their faculty were so proud of them, and it was so much fun. I actually got to shake their hands and get my picture made with them, and it's a great vibe, and it was great that the award ceremony was in TPAC, and it was nice to have such a nice facility for them to see, to be a part of the celebration. That concludes my reports, and I'll entertain any questions.
Questions for Dr. Thomas? I did have one question about the grant, the UHK grant to go to the
Yes.
Czech Republic. When will they be attending that, or will that be
It's
this?
actually open for 2.5 years. So at any time, Dr. Stebbins thought that we could probably start using it this spring if we can get the applications from students and faculty and get that turned around in time. We might send some students, some faculty in the spring particularly, because that's only 10 days. But for the students to go and study abroad for a semester, it will probably begin fall of 24.
Yeah. Thank you. A lot of information. Any other questions from the board? Thank you, Dr. Thoms, for your report. Next, Chief Financial Officer and Treasurer, Ms. Linda Ice.
Well, thank you and good afternoon again. I know that Corvus presented the audit, but I always like to take time in my report just to thank the campus for all of their diligence throughout the year. It truly makes it a success, and it makes me very, very pleased when we don't have any findings. What this does is it reflects the very best of our Missouri Southern team and all the effort that they do every year. And so I just want to make sure that I take time to say thank you to everyone for that. Insurance, open enrollment for annual insurance selections went very, very well. It was from October 18th to October 31. This is year 2 with our carrier Anthem. And we had over 400 employees make their selections for the 2024 calendar year. I'd like to talk a little bit about moving on to, we are working on a request for proposal for our food service, and that will take a look at everything from pricing for the residence hall meals, Lion Cub Academy meals, retail options. This process will take several months with an anticipated contract on July 1 of 2024. So we are working through that. We have a committee that will work through that and work through the proposal and do those reviews and provide a selected food service vendor for us for next year. Talking about the RFP, RFQ process, I do want to formally announce that on the Health Science Innovation Center that we have formally signed a contract, and we do have a CMAR, a construction manager at risk selected, and we have negotiated that contract, and that is Crossland Construction. So we are very excited to have them on board as part of that project. And then next, I'd like to talk about supporting and celebrating our employees. It's hard to believe, but 6 weeks from now, we will be having our employee appreciation brunch. And that's a time for all of us to get together and celebrate our employees and their length of service. We have some employees anywhere from 5 years, but we've had up to 35 and 40 years that we have had employees on campus, and we celebrate them. And so I always enjoy that time. It's a nice way to kind of kick off the winter break. We'll move on to the financial statements for the period of October 31. The cash graph shows a balance of about $22 million, and this is $4.8 million over the prior year. I do want to remind the board that we did have a prepayment on Mosher's last year, and so that is creating part of that variance, about $3.1 million of that. And so the true variance is probably closer to about $1.7, $1.8 million, but it is up, and we always like to see cash up. Moving on to the statement of net position, our assets are at $189 million, and our liabilities are at $135 million, and net assets are at $54 million. We talked a little bit during the committee meeting that we have new line items on our financial statements. That is due to implementation of a new GASB 96, subscription-based information technology arrangements, SPITA. We have acronyms for everything. And so you'll see a few lines on the statement of net position for the incorporation of that new GASB. Moving on to the comparative statement of revenues and expenses and changes in net position, we always look at the difference column year over year. Operating revenue shows an increase of $1.6 million. That's due to, we see an increase in tuition and we see an increase in auxiliary. And obviously tuition, with the numbers that Dr. Van Galen mentioned earlier, we have credit hours up, and so we do see that revenue reflected there. And then auxiliary, we have some additional rooms that have been brought online, and that makes a difference there as well. Operating expenses increase is about $488,000. Non-operating revenues shows an increase of about $863,000. Appropriations is a big piece of that. We got a base increase this year, which we're always thankful for. Also, investment income, as everyone is aware, the interest rates are going up, and that gets reflected on there. And we have almost $300,000 more in investment income. Our other revenue increase is about $245,000. So looking at income before the revenues, the current year is at $4.2 million. The prior year is at $2.3 million, and that shows an overall increase of $1.9 million. I'll entertain any questions.
Questions from Ms. Ice?
I have one. So I should have asked this at the committee meeting today, and you reminded me. Did we get an opportunity to prepay Mosher's this year?
We did, but it was a little bit smaller amount in the variance in that. And so this year we chose not to do the prepayment for this particular
Not as good
year.
a discount this year for prepayment?
No, sir.
Thank you.
I had one question. You mentioned the interest earning because rates have gone up.
Mhm.
Remind the board again what we're earning on our cash position at the bank. roughly?
We're at 5.4%.
Great. Terrific. Other questions from Ms. Ice? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the financial statements at this time.
So moved.
Governor Haley, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Governor Rosenberg, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your report. Next, Dean of Admissions, Dr. Hewitt.
So today I want to share with you some of our recruitment highlights as well as some of our fall marketing initiatives. So to start with, I want to share that campus visits, including group tours, this semester has grown as it has been doing for the past several semesters. And just in the past couple of weeks, we've had over 400 students on campus visiting, learning about our programs, campus vibrancy, and aside from the students we generally have from the 4-state region, we've had prospective students and parents from Kentucky, Texas, Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, Tennessee, California, Ohio, and Indiana. We are looking forward to the spring semester to continue to host students on our campus, as well as adding a few special events for students, specifically a dual credit discovery day, which we're working on now. Additionally, our university marketing and relations team are really partnering with our recruitment efforts with all of their initiatives. Specifically for television, we've increased our television commercial ad buys during our primetime viewing of Sunday Night Football and specific college football packages on key stations. So if you are watching those on TV, you probably are seeing some of our commercials, as well as our digital marketing. So for digital marketing campaigns for the fall, we've included general campaigns for scholarships and immersive learning opportunities, but we're also utilizing our digital marketing for specific programs such as MKeep and our graduate programs like data analytics and healthcare administration. And to follow that with social media. So we're targeting specific areas with our social media, such as Springfield, Grove and Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rogers and Bentonville, Arkansas, and we have seen a large return on interactions with those initiatives. And then finally, I want to talk about our international recruitment efforts and what we're seeing for the spring. So to date, we have admitted 418 international students for the spring semester. 382 of those students are first-time, full-time degree-seeking students, and 9 of them are transfer. So the students this spring, they're coming from 25 different countries, including the top countries of Nepal, Bangladesh, India, Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana, Kenya, Japan, Brazil, and Mexico. So you can see we are attracting a diverse group of students from many countries around the world. You may be interested in the top programs that they're interested in. And our top 4 programs that our international students are looking to come here for are CIS, Business Undeclared, Biology, and Accounting. So with all of these efforts combined, we are looking for a very exciting spring semester and an even better fall 2024 semester. And that concludes my report, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions that you have.
Any questions for Dr. Hewitt?
I have one question. Dr. Hewitt, I like the marketing initiatives you guys are doing, the social media and the TV presence. Do you know the reach of your TV marketing? Will it also go into the Northwest Arkansas and Tulsa region as well, or just mainly local here in the 4 states?
I'm going to ask Reed to answer that question.
So right now, those packages are primarily for our Joplin Pittsburgh market. We do some things with Sparklight to get out into other rural communities, and we've had conversations with Springfield CBS and Northwest Arkansas stations, but we haven't placed any ad buys for this year in Northwest Arkansas or Springfield at this time.
Okay.
Other questions for Dr. Hewitt? Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Next, Director of Athletics, Mr. Mallory.
Thank you, Governor Plotnick. My report begins on page 14 of the overall report, featuring just a few recent highlights from athletics. 2 weeks ago, we celebrated the Missouri Southern Athletics Hall of Fame class of 2023 as we inducted 6 very deserving individuals. You'll see their names and photographs on that in the report. Community engagement, something we've talked about a lot over the past couple of years, continues to be a priority. For the athletic department, our student athletes recently completed the Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat program, and this year collected over 6,000 non-perishable items for local food pantry at Souls Harbor. That is an effort that we're going to put forward as a nominee for the Division II Award of Excellence this year, a program that recognizes community engagement and community service projects across the country. And just, I guess, a point of interest, once again competing in the fall semester NCAA Service Challenge, currently ranked, it was 3 when I wrote this, unfortunately it's 4 now, but we are more than 1,500 hours ahead of where we were tracking last year. And if you recall, our student athletes achieved more than 5,000 hours of service. So they are on pace to blow that out of the water. And then lastly, we are in final preparations to host the Division II National Championship cross-country meet next weekend here in Joplin on the Tom Rutledge cross country course. That event will draw more than 500 competitors here to our campus, one of only 4 national championships in Division II conducted on a college campus this academic year. It's been a lot of work from our staff, but will be a great event, not just for Missouri Southern, but for the entire Joplin community. And of note, our women's team did qualify to compete in that national championship, as well as one individual on the men's side. That concludes my report. Happy to take any questions.
Questions for Mr. Mallory?
One question.
Yes.
Hall of Fame weekend, I think it went well. Did you see the Super Bowl ring?
I did see the Super Bowl ring, yes. It was quite large. Doubles as a necklace. I saw that.
That it did. I think it didn't even fit my thumb, so.
Other questions? Thank you, Rob. Next, Faculty Senate President, Dr. Jean Coulter.
Well, in a change from my last report where I was talking about the air conditioning going out, we had a few days where we didn't have heat and it was 20 degrees out. But don't worry, it got fixed just in time for the 80-degree days. So it's been an interesting couple of weeks. Our promotion and tenure ad hoc committee that is reassessing the standards for service and scholarship for each department is almost to an end. Every department has created their own standards using a 3-tiered system. And I think the committee met this week and is hopefully tying that all up in a nice bow, and we'll move that on to our handbook committee. My next thing, I actually have an update since I wrote this. And Dr. Thomas, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe our intellectual property policy is now back from Hush Blackwell with their comments, and is now gone, or will go back to the committee next week. I will say I'm cautiously optimistic. I do think this is the most progress we have made in the 4 years that I've been involved with it. I don't want to jinx it, but I think this might be a winning copy. Recently, Faculty Senate conducted a survey that was sent out to all employees on our medical healthcare benefits, just to get some feedback. We do have an insurance committee, and there are some faculty and staff reps on there, but it's hard for them to kind of speak for the entire faculty and staff. So we just kind of wanted to get a survey out there, see what everyone's feeling about that benefit, and hopefully that will provide important insight for that committee. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Dr. Coulter?
I don't want to jinx it either. Mine's about the heat and air conditioning. Was it an actual malfunction, or is it just that Midwest Southern time of year that
I think Brad can.
you made one switch and then
switch and
yeah, so
swings 60 degrees.
it was nobody here's fault. It was or even a malfunction, thankfully. So no budget effect.
Thank you.
Just timing of the weather.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you for your report. Staff Senate President, Ms. Alicia Hughes.
And I say that because I don't want our faculty and staff to be uncomfortable, but it sounds like maybe we couldn't help it. Sorry.
Thank you. So, Staff Senate has been working on the swap shop. I think I talked about it in my last report. It's a partnership with the Lion Co-op where we will be donating Southern gear that doesn't fit, we don't wear anymore, things like that, for other employees to then go in and take as their own. Just kind of an opportunity to get our swag a second life versus it going in the trash or to a secondhand shop, and allow other employees or students the opportunity to use that. Anticipating that opening sometime after the first of the spring semester. Donations will be made at any time after that opening, but we do have a couple of areas on campus that are collecting that now, so if you have questions about donating to that, let me know. But it is located in the library. I think they said that it was behind the reference desk,
once the co-op is open, and then employees will tap their key card, I believe, to get into the shop and shop. And then the second thing is our angel tree is now up and full of angels ready for adoption. If you're not familiar with that, our angel tree project is Staff Senate's annual initiative where Pell eligible students can put their children into an application pool to then be put on a tree where staff, faculty, anyone of campus community or otherwise can donate gifts for those students. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but this is probably the 10th or so year of the Angel Tree, so a very proud initiative, one of my absolute favorites. We had 46 student applicants for a total of 114 children. We typically put 50 children on the tree at a time, so we're still hoping that as those get taken, we replenish and we get all 114 children all the gifts that they need, and then some for Christmas. I put in my report that the gifts are handed out during holiday happenings, but then I found out the other day during Senate that that's not the case. They're handed out the day before holiday happenings. So December 7th is when we will do our push to hand those gifts out to the parents of those children, just allowing everybody that volunteers for that to have time to either volunteer or attend holiday happenings. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for Ms. Hughes? I think the angel tree and the swap shop sound like great ideas. Thank you for your report.
I'm very proud of Staff Senate this year.
Great. Next, Student Senate President, Mr. Marcel John.
Thank you, everybody. So a couple things that Student Senate has been doing this year. If anybody has been keeping up with MSSU pages, we have been doing the school drive or food drive for our universities. So around the statewide, a lot of Division II schools have been participating in a food drive to raise points, basically bragging rights on who can raise the most food for within the state of Missouri. So as of right now, we are in second place, as last I checked, with Missouri Western State being in first, and with one exception of a D1 school. I'm proud to say that Missouri State is doing terrible. So we are doing better than a D1 school, and I'm very happy to say that we are doing very, very well. Other stuff I wanted to bring up to attention that Missouri, our Senate group is also doing quite a bit of service projects. So recently I posted on my Facebook page about potential people to reach out to just for the holiday season. So what our group is doing is a meal train, which we will be designating a time slot, so maybe 4 to 5 hours. We will be working with nonprofit organizations and potential businesses that are willing to help and cook for not only the homeless, but also the community of Joplin. And it's just going to be a while supplies last type of event, and just encouraging many families around Joplin, around holiday season, to come out and eat and kind of just relax with the Student Senate governors and kind of just having a great time, because we, as you saw with Rob Mallory and what you guys are doing, I'm very happy that we're all engaging with the community. So I encourage every other registered student organization to kind of roll after both of us in doing the same exact thing, trying to get a part of the community as well. And for my last bit, I wanted to say thank you to everybody, but this is, of course, my last Board of Governors meeting, as I will be graduating December 16th. A lot of things I wanted to say. I'm very thankful for you guys, and not only helping with my confidence, because if you guys ever could tell, very first time I came in here, I was completely nervous, terrified out of my mind, but as time went on, you guys have helped kind of build into the person I am, and I'm very thankful for each and every one of you for kind of just guiding me along my way throughout college. And other than that, that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. Congratulations, graduation, just a month away. We've enjoyed having you on the board. Do we have someone that will be taking your place then?
Yes, we will be, if Mike Parson elects a Board of Governor, I think around that time, they'll be the person in place of me.
Great. Any questions for Mr. John?
Future plans after graduation?
Honestly, I had a set plan of what I was going to do job-wise, but I've been kind of just weaving in and out kind of on decision-making. only just because I'm very opportunistic. I don't really want to ground myself on a set job. If I don't get it, then I'm going to be devastated. But I try to keep, with my degree in marketing, I try to see where I fit best in any industry, any pathway I can see, kind of just in the foreseeable future. In terms of goals, my biggest goal right now is kind of just to move out of Missouri, because I was raised in Missouri for most of my life. So I kind of just want to grow my wings, kind of just see what I can do on my own, and then potentially get my master's in data analytics further down the line.
Great.
We know a university that offers that program.
And we're glad you stuck around for your college education. We hope
Great.
it serves you well.
Thank you for your report, and
Thank you.
best of luck. We'll see you at graduation. Go
Madam
ahead.
Chairman,
Yes.
if I could, I'd like to congratulate Marcel on his graduation. I'm sorry I couldn't be there today with you, Marcel, but it's been a real pleasure serving with you on the board, and just wish you nothing but the best. And if any of us can ever help you, don't be bashful about reaching out. And thank you again.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And you can pass that along to your other colleagues as far as the members of the board.
Thank you,
I
Governor.
really
Elliott.
don't speak for the board now, but some of them probably feel the same.
Thank
I
you very
appreciate
much.
every one of you guys. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our reports for today. We'll move on to board committees. And first is Personnel and Compensation Committee, Chair Governor Elliott.
We tried to meet this morning, Madam Chairman, and I could not find a quorum.
We did not have a personnel compensation meeting, but thank you.
But I tried. I just wanted everybody to know that I'm putting my best effort in.
Thank you for that. Okay, we'll move on to Academic Affairs, and we'll turn that over to the Chair, Governor Rosenberg.
Yes, thank you. We met this morning. Dr. Toms gave us some updates. Dr. Hewitt talked to us about dual credit courses throughout the various high schools in the state of Missouri. And we reviewed two potential academic programs. One is a Master of Science in Sport and Recreational Management. The other are graduate certificates in Artificial Intelligence. The committee unanimously approved these, and with that, I would offer a motion that the board accept them.
We have a motion from Governor Rosenberg to accept the two new programs. Do we have a second?
I would second that.
Governor Hershaway with a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else, Governor Rosenberg?
No, that concludes my report.
Thank you. The next board committee was Budget and Audit. Governor Haley.
Thank you, Governor Plotnick. Budget and Audit Committee met this morning. The bulk of our agenda was covering the fiscal year 23 audit presentation that was done by Forbes. And so that went well, and clean and unmodified opinion from the audit. We received an update on the capital campaign, the Health Science Innovation Center, and the Line Village remediation of the water incident. But from that committee, we do have a motion to approve the fiscal year 23 audit presented by Forbes, and so I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Governor Haley to approve the results of the fiscal year in 23 audit. Do we have a second?
Second.
Governor Gibson. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is old business. Do we have any old business to come before the board? Hearing none. New business. Do we have any new business to come before the board?
May I?
Yes.
The board has in front of all of you a upcoming event summary. Thank you to Mark Scott for putting that together. I just wanted to point out a couple of special opportunities for the board to engage with campus. One is the International Student Thanksgiving luncheon or dinner on November 19th. This is a tradition where we provide a traditional Thanksgiving meal to our international students, and the board is invited to serve as table hosts and interact with students, as in many cases they enjoy a traditional meal and some food that they have not experienced before. It's a great event. Also, a seasonal choral flourish is December 1st, sponsored, hosted by the foundation and our fine arts department. Always a good time. And then also holiday happenings, which will be even larger this year on campus on December 8th, Friday evening. That will include tours of the mansion, reindeer, a craft show, Santa, and lighting of the tree, and other great things. So this is open to the entire community. We're building this as part of becoming a more and more vibrant campus, so I hope the board will be able to stop by. And then, of course, commencement on December 16th at 10 a.m. Thank you, Governor Plotnick.
Thank you. Just a reminder, one other item, Dr. Van Galen wanted me to remind all of the board members that Mary has something for everyone before they leave, so make sure to check in. He got in hot water last year when he didn't remind everybody, so. And any other new business? Hearing none, you'll see the future meeting dates coming up, January 19th, March 15th, and June 13th for our future board meetings. That concludes our meeting.
Graduation is December 16th.
And graduation is December the 16th.
Is that right?
That is correct. Okay, that concludes our meeting. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Morgan so moved, and we'll take Rosenberg as a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We are dismissed. Thank you all for coming. Have a great weekend.
Anita, that was one.